What's up, everybody? So my name is Cam. This is going to be the first video that I'm actually going to do for this channel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of unbox the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2E and a little bit of background on myself. Not military, I'm not LE, never been in, but I do love guns. I think everyone should own a gun, multiple guns at that. I've gotten a lot of my friends into them, kind of convince them like, hey, you need this for protection, you need this to defend yourself and stuff like that. So, that kind of sparked this whole channel and stuff because, I like telling people about guns and trying to, drop some knowledge on people and all that kind of shit. So, I thought, why not just start a little YouTube channel where I kind of do unboxings of stuff that I purchase and then do reviews on it and stuff after I get enough rounds through it, of course. Because everything's reliable until you actually put it through the ringer. Now this I do 100% believe will be perfectly fine, just because the Razor Vortex or Vortex Razor is very well known. You guys know, I'm sure. Very reliable. A lot of it's been proven, it's been used from military units, LE and stuff like that, and it's just a rugged, great optic. So what I have for you here today is the Vortex Razor Gen 2E. Now, I actually never heard about this till a couple of weeks ago. I just knew there was the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2 and then the HD Gen 3. I never knew about the Gen 2E. And I was on ADM's website. I was picking up a lower, actually. And I saw that they sold optic packages. So I was like, oh shit, let's see what they got, right? Because I was in the market for an LPVO. So I went on there, saw this bad boy on there with one of their Delta H mounts, and I did a little bit of research on it, liked what I saw, and so I went ahead and purchased it. So that's kind of my whole background into how I actually got this optic. You actually get it for a great deal. I would really recommend you get it through ADM if you do get this optic, just because you get the optic and the mount for around like $1,600, which is pretty good, because on Vortex's website I believe this goes for like $2,300 by itself, no mount, no nothing. So I think that's the best way to go about it, but that's just me personally. Now for this, I'm just gonna unbox this, show you guys what's up, what's good with it. You get this really nice box, actually, really cool presentation, all this fun stuff, and oh, there we go. So you get this little fucking hex screw or hex bar. Get the little lens cloth, which is important. I got a million of these, not Vortex's ones, but I mean they're all pretty much the same. So keep those lenses clean, all that fun shit. And what do we got here? Okay, so this is just gonna give you information about the reticle. Really important. Actually, I'm going to bring this with me because I do plan on using this tomorrow. Probably just a little manual about the optic itself. I'm going to keep that. Probably never read it, but you never know. More stuff about the reticle. Mounting information, stuff like that. Illumination knob is locked. Really cool feature. But now the optic itself, it's wrapped in this nice plastic. Which is whatever. I doubt this optic, FedEx didn't treat it very well, but it will be fine. So this is her right here. Sorry for shaking the mount. Really good optic. Very heavy from just picking it up. I've never had an LPVO. I've never owned one. I'm a little bit newer to shooting, I would say, especially shooting a lot. I just haven't had time because of school, work, stuff like that, and stuff I got going on outside, but I do plan on shooting a lot more. I got about 800 rounds of 5.56 that I'm going to put through a new rifle that I bought. So I'm going to try it out. So why exactly did I choose this optic? Well, as I kind of went through before, I kind of believe when it comes to any like gun parts or any weapon accessories and guns in general, I kind of do believe buy once, cry once, right? You spend a good chunk of change, you never have to buy one of these again, especially if you only got one rifle. Instead of just buying a whole bunch of, a bunch of optics that aren't as good and then you end up not being completely satisfied, and you try and find some more cheap shit, or you eventually come to get like one of these. Sorry about shaking this again. But yeah, pretty cool optic, pretty hefty, which is nice. I like. So yeah, I would without a doubt recommend getting one of these, of course, if you're in the market for an LPVO, just because we already know these Vortex razors are proven. They're really good optics. Another important reason why I did purchase this is I actually have an astigmatism. So for me to use red dots and even EOTech actually, I do notice that I get a lot of like blur and shit and starbursting and all that fuckery. So I kind of got one of these just so I can actually shoot without my glasses, without it being a pain in the ass. Of course, being able to shoot with an astigmatism, to me, it's kind of a training issue. It just makes it suck a little bit more, which is whatever. That's why you train. You get yourself uncomfortable, and then you end up getting better. So that's kind of the main reason why I wanted to get into an LPVO. So some specifications about this thing actually is really nice. This is a second focal plane optic. So what that means, if you've never heard of it, is it's a first and second focal plane. First focal plane means the reticle adjusts as you change the magnification. So as you go up in magnification, the reticle will get a lot bigger, and you won't have to change your holds or anything like that as much, I believe, as with a second focal plane optic, which this one is. Now, second focal plane, the reticle pretty much just stays the same. It doesn't move. And I really like that just because I have horrible eyes, right? So a lot of those first focal plane optics, the reticle will be really small and a little bit harder to pick up. And me, it's hard for me to see. So I picked this up for that reason, so that's why I went with it. Ooh, window opened. But yeah, so second focal plane, really good. I would definitely try a first focal plane optic, but currently I'm just going to run this for a while. This is a 1:6 in terms of magnification, which is really good, of course. You can get that PID on something you're shooting at. And again, I bring this back to me having shitty fucking eyes. So it's easier for me to touch something at distance just because I have that extra magnification, which I do need. So yeah, glasses also, from what I've heard, and when I was kind of fucking around with this thing and like looking through it earlier, it's really clear, which is really good, of course, because I have bad eyes. If there's a lot of noise, it's hard for me to see, which is why I don't generally run iron sights with red dots. Just makes a bigger issue for me. But yeah, so this is a 1:6 magnification. About the reticle, I'm going to show this on the screen actually right now so you guys can see it. But this is a JM1 BDC. It's a pretty good reticle, very clean, which is what I like, which is what I wanted. And, allows me to get a very good view on whatever I'm shooting at, or at least it should, because I haven't actually shot this thing yet. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to like it. But yeah, it's a half MOA adjustment, which is fine for me. I'll be able to get that good zero and then be able to hit my targets and shoot really fast, which is the goal. I need to train for that. So about the eye relief too. So this optic has about 4 inches of eye relief, from what I saw on the specifications on Vortex's website. I'm going to assume it's a lot more than that because that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people who actually have done stuff on this optic before. Not this specific one, but the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2. 4 inches of eye relief. Of course, as you go up in magnification, you get a little bit more scope shadow and all that fun stuff, which, if you don't know, it's like the little black rings that kind of form if you're not looking through your scope correctly, or if you're at like a weird fucky angle. So you're gonna have that. So another thing about this, about 10 inches long, which is whatever. I don't really care about the length. I'm sure this thing has a great personality and all that fun shit. So what does make this kind of the Gen 2 E, or what I like to say is like kind of a Gen 2.5? I believe it's the reticles, and then the actual weight of the optic itself. The regular Razor Gen 2 weighs about 26 ounces, which is pretty hefty. You know, obviously it's really heavy, or it's not heavy, you know, but it's heavier than most LPVOs out there, which is what I've heard. And when I was doing my research on these things, it's what it was. But, you know, just go to the gym, do some push-ups. You'll be fine. You shouldn't complain about that kind of stuff. Just get a little stronger. Take a lot of creatine, juice up, all that fun stuff. But anyway, I digress. So this is about 21.5 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter, which is nice. But still is going to have that rugged durability, which is what we want from these kinds of things, of course. And then this is also, of course, the body is made out of aircraft grade aluminum. It has a HD glass in it, which, you know, is going to come from that. It's what's going to allow that clarity and that good color. What's the word? Fucking color going in your eye is going to be really nice. This thing also has a really good daylight bright dot, which is awesome if you're shooting in the day, of course, and you're using this thing at like a 1 magnification. You'll be able to, you know, hit your shots and see what you're shooting at a lot closer, which is nice. And from what I've heard from a lot of cheaper LPVOs and, you know, from lesser quality LPVOs, I know the EOTech Voodoo had this problem. I don't know if it still does, but the actual reticle itself, when you have the LED going on in it, is not that bright, which kind of defeats the purpose of having an illuminated reticle. You know, you want to be able to see it in the middle of the day when it's the brightest out. So that's another reason why, of course, I bought this, just because you'll be able to see that dot, which is nice. I already tested it out, pointed it like right at the sun. I looked at it, burned my fucking retinas out. And it's really bright. It's really, really, really bright. This is definitely a daylight bright optic, or daylight bright reticle. Another reason, finally, why I chose this is this Vortex. So you know they have that lifetime warranty, which is absolutely awesome. I doubt anything will ever happen to this, but in the case if it does, I'll be able to get a new one, get my fucking money back. Or not get my money back, I'd just rather have my optic. But, you know, I always have that ability. So what do I actually plan on doing with this? I'm going to mount this on a 14.5 inch BCM upper, ADM lower rifle with a 193 mount. The mount that I got was actually an ADM mount, which I'm going to do a video on too. Just a short little video just telling you about it, which I'm going to assume they're really good mounts. When I did my research, everyone seemed to be really happy with them, and they shot a lot of rounds through it and stuff like that. So I went with that. I also do want to put a red dot on top of it. I don't have one now. The only red dot that I have that could go on it is the one that I have on my Glock 19, but I want to keep it on there just because it makes shooting a lot easier. And that's my most shotgun. I have about 2,500 rounds through it, which really isn't a lot. You can run 1,000,000 rounds through a Glock. It's going to run fine, unless you're just a hater and you don't like Glocks and you want to deny their reliability, but that's on you. So yeah, I'm going to mount a red dot at 12 o'clock on this. But yeah, so that's going to pretty much do it for the... Oh, also, one thing I do want to go over. So the actual adjustments for this to be able to increase the magnification, it is kind of stiff. When I was doing my research on it, a lot of people were saying that, which I kind of like, actually, just because, you know, if this thing ever gets bumped or something like that, I don't want it to be able to move easily. It's nice to actually be able to rely on it being there. I'm going to actually put a throw lever on here. I have one from Vortex already, but I'm going to try it, see what I think about it. And yeah, also some other things too that's really cool about this that I forgot to mention is with the actual illumination. There's about 11 different settings, and between each one of those settings we'll actually turn off the dot. And this is locking too, so it won't change on you if you like bump it or something, or you got it in like a gun bag. It's not going to change once you lock it. Right now, of course, it's unlocked, so it's pretty cool. Just having that extra feature there and that extra safety net, which I think is important. Diopter adjustment, of course, which is nice. You need that pretty much. That's not something that should be talked about too much, being able to adjust it to your eye. You also have screw caps, of course, for your MOA adjustments, just in case. You know, you'll always have your zero right. It should be straight. Just as long as you keep these on, which I will keep them on, of course. Obviously, when I'm zeroing, they're going to come off. But yes, that's going to pretty much do it for this one, guys. I appreciate everyone that's watching me, you know, get armed to the teeth by a fuck ton of guns. And be safe out there, y'all, okay? Love you guys. Goodbye.